Wednesdays at 1. Welcome. We are a weekly poetry salon that meets at the Robert and Pearl Seymour Center in Chapel Hill. I should say heretofore we've met at the Robert and Pearl Seymour Center, but with the COVID-19 pandemic affecting our community like so many others, we've been, like so many others, forced to innovate a bit, to rethink how we're going to come together each week. And our solution has been to do so virtually using the Zoom technology that no doubt you've all heard about. And so now each week we, a few of us at any rate, in the group come together to share poems. This week, at the request of the Seymour Center, we thought we'd prepare a brief poetry reading from some of the members of our group to share with you. So, without further ado, have a listen to the next 25 minutes or so of really good poetry by really talented writers. Enjoy.
And we'll just read. Who wants to read first? Janet, how about you?
Oh, I'd love to. I tried to go with my more uplifting ones. Okay, this one you just heard recently. Transmission. Person to person, person to surface, surface to person, surface to surface. Heart to parcel, parcel to doorstep, doorstep to truck, truck to doorstep, doorstep to parcel, parcel to heart, heart to heart.
And what's the title of that poem?
Transmission.
Transmission.
Mm-hmm.
A timely topic.
That's early.
Janet, say a word or two about you. Since this is going out probably to the Seymour community, say a word or two about yourself and you know, your affiliation with this group.
Okay, I'm a retired school counselor. I used to write when I was younger and stopped because of the 9 to 5 and discovered Clark Holtzman's journal writing class and was persuaded to join the poetry group, which I've now been in 2.5 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a good thing for me.
Good. Susie, how about you? We'll just go around the square here.
Okay, I also picked a more uplifting poem, which I've revised a little bit. It's called Boomers. Beat, 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 music is blasting. Tap, 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 many feet keep time. Step up, step down, lunge forwards and aft. Hop to the left, hop to the right, synchronized harmony all around. Black weights rise and fall, biceps curl, triceps strain, deltoids are defined. Push up, sink down, bone density increasing. Crunch up, roll down, battle of the bulge. Endorphins are surging, anonymous groans are moaned. Define age through exercise, boomers are rocking on.
Rock on.
What is the title again?
Boomers.
Boomers.
Like baby boomers?
Yeah, her next poem is going to be Q-tips. Come on. You guys need to get out more. That's what the millennials call us, Q-tips.
We're the baby boomers.
Yeah, unfortunately, some people like Ho put the lie to that, but you know. Maybe a little bit about yourself.
I'm a retired nurse. I worked at UNC Hospital for 25 years in gynecology, oncology, and a massage therapist still currently, although not doing any while we're in lockdown. So I joined this poetry group, Wednesdays at 1 poetry group at the Seymour Center a little over a year ago, which has really made me write poetry, sometimes good, sometimes not so good. But it makes me write and be creative and think about things. And I've really enjoyed the group a lot. Makes me laugh a lot too.
Oh, good. Poetry should do that. Thank you. Bennett, I don't know if you can, we can't see you. Apparently your mic is working, so can you read a poem for us, Bennett?
Well, he may be audio disconnected.
Uh,
On his end, probably.
yeah, Bennett, you may need to.
Send him an email.
All right, we'll move on. And Bennett, try to see if you can find your audio button on your computer and make sure that's on. So Ho, let's go to you.
Okay. When the mind forgets, the heart remembers. I feel that I know you. What's your name? Gotta be somewhere. It is in my heart just the same. I know that smell from back when. Feels friendly and safe. Whoever came then. A picture I love, of whom I don't know. You're so kind. My mind is just slow. You speak so well, and I thank you for coming. While I have you here, do some strumming, would you, my dear? On this guitar, just sits here always on my armoire. This feels so nice. I want you to know. Please come again. I'll miss you so.
That's very sweet. You've read that one before in our group.
Yes, recently.
Yes. Ho, a little bit about yourself, please.
Okay, I'm Ho Haryadi. I'm a retired psychiatrist, moved here from Buffalo a little over 12 years ago, and do a little bit of organizational consulting, and got busy at the Seymour Center with the Mandarin class, and through proximity in space and time got connected to Clark's group. And I used to write what I thought of was poetry, and then somehow I flowed into this group very happily now doing some more real poetry. And thank you for that.
Good, thank you. Elio, since you're up and running, shall we hear a poem from you?
Yes. I
And you
have,
should sit close to the mic.
yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I picked a poem from a book I published some years back. The book is titled The Memory of Words. The poem don't have a title, or do they? They do have the same title as the book. So here we go. And they are numbered. The Memory of Words, number 4. Oh, by the way, this is a book that goes through incident, emotion, thoughts, experiences in my life from childhood to the way, up to the way to the time when I came to the United States. The Memory of Words, number 4. In the vineyard, grapes sparkle, yellow round gems of brightness. Bees hover in the sweet smell of ripening. Pauline, the superintendent, sets the day for the harvest. Big vats, the wooden tub where grapes will be crushed, and the press to squeeze the skin are prepared, and the summer turns into gold-laced fall, and the excitement of the harvest. Men, red to their knees, stomp grapes, pouring out a basket brought in straight from the vineyard. Women, ready pots and fires to cook wine pudding. The cellar's double doors are agape, a dark cave into which Mantis appears with buckets of must and skins filling the vats. We children play around the teams, inhaling the inebriating vapors of must, still here and there a drop from a spigot or a pail. Later, the grapes ferment and the cellar, half dug into the ground on one side of the farmhouse, is silent. The house spiced with a sweet heaviness. When nobody's around, carefully, I open the narrow door entering from the stairwell, the mysterious darkness, past the racks of upturned bottles waiting, to the ladder rising to the top of the vats. Looking into the witch's book, a cap of skin and pawed, my head high in the vapors. I wonder at the miracle that turns it into our table wine. The grapes I pilfered in the vineyard to sweeten my mouth transformed, but I cannot understand how.
No.
The season moves into shorter days, and colder nights come on the edge of the first fogs. Orion rises toward its peak winter show. The cold gather us around the fires in the evenings, horses resting in their stalls, cows chewing the last cut hay. Then comes the day of slaughter. We try to keep our children away, but we know and hide where we can see or at least hear. First, the desperate squeals. Then a last high-pitched cry. A terrifying note rings in my ear, knowledge of death. Afterwards, work quick and precise fills a new silence and completes the celebration of the growing season with the expectation of the feast. By evening, salami hangs from beams in the soft light of the kitchen cellar. Pigs' hooves have become musical toys, and the kitchen blood pies finish cooking, and chitterlings pile up on trays. The brutal work accomplished. A year-long supply for our table ready. In the darkness, before sleep, I try to forget scratching the pig's ears, feeding him corn, seeing him happy.
Thank you. Elio, if you would, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yep. I'm a retired physics professor. I retired in 2001 to do what I please, mainly walk on the pasture, paint, and write poetry. And I've made, I believe, a reasonably happy mess out of it.
That's pretty self-effacing of you. Those of you who don't know Elio well know that he's written several books of poetry and books of poetry and paintings, and he works with another friend of ours, Tom Hines, who Tom writes these wonderfully cerebral, wispy-like poems, and Elio does paintings to them, and they published a book of that kind of artistic conversation in the last year. It's a beautiful book. And Elio also has another book of poems out that are more, thank you, Doug is showing it there. Hello, Doug.
Hi.
Hello, Doug. Good.
Hi.
So, yeah, and I think you can, if the Seymour community is looking at this, you can see Elio's Gmail account up there. You can send him a message and order one of his books. They're cheap at twice the price. And the thing I find most interesting about Elio's poetry is so many of his poems are often narrative poems, and the narratives come from the old country where he grew up. And he tells some, in some cases, some hair-raising stories, in some cases, some beautiful stories in his poems, and they're always a joy to read. So if you get a chance to pick up one of Elio's books, you should do so. Hello, Doug. Welcome.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
That's fine. We're moving around the horn here. We're going to invite a new friend to Wednesdays at 1, our virtual Wednesdays at 1, Jay Furman. So Jay, feel free to unmute and read us a poem if you would. Welcome.
Thank you, Clark.
June called, and Bob said that it asked him for a password, and we didn't see no password.
There was one in the message.
There was. Okay, there will.
We're rolling now, so we can't help him. Sorry.
Right, I know.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
Clark, I think you asked for a brief bio. So I work at Duke University full-time. I'm working now, just taking a quick lunch break. Susie mentioned the Wednesdays at 1 poetry group in recent conversation. So I like poetry, and I like Susie, so I thought I'd give it a try. I should say that I'm not an online socializing person, and at least I'm normally working at this time, but in the spirit of a new normal, I'm here now. And being a newbie, I wasn't sure what to expect today, but I did write a short poem this morning to share just in case. So I'm going to share this with you. I like it. It's sweet, short and sweet. I titled it Spring Solitude. I'm not sure if that will remain the title. Like a cat in a window, like a goldfish in a bowl, I experience this spring deeply, building memories on my own. That's it.
Oh, that was so short, you have to read it again. We often make people who bring really short poems read them twice, so please read it again.
No problem. That'll make it much more valuable, I suppose. Like a cat in a window, like a goldfish in a bowl, I experience this spring deeply, building memories on my own.
Thank you.
In the spirit of our current shelter-in-place mode.
Yes. Many of us are writing shelter-in-place poems about now. It's kind of hard not to. That's the topic of the day. Doug Stuber.
Yes.
Share us a poem and then share a poem with us and then tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to Wednesdays at 1.
Wow, how did I get there originally? Probably from you, Clark, because you were part of Writing New Poets, still are. So I probably learned about it directly, but I wasn't an original because I flitz about all over the place. This is a paradel, and a paradel automatically tinkers and then doesn't tinker, but it has repeating lines, and then it takes all the words from the first 2 lines to repeat to make the last 2 lines of a 6-line stanza, and you'll get a feel for it. The last stanza is all the words that have been used, refigured word by word. Paradel for James. Routine runs to laugh behind the flake-barked tree. Routine runs to laugh behind the flake-barked tree. Whitey, my son's dog, darts to freedom, breaks his heart. Whitey, my son's dog, darts to freedom, breaks his heart. Whitey barked freedom, breaks routine that darts flake. My son's laugh, his heart behind, runs to the dog tree. Thick lips expect extra attention when cold weather arrives. Thick lips expect extra attention when cold weather arrives. He is so pure he gets awards that proclaim angelic. He is so pure, he gets awards that proclaim angelic. Angelic lips proclaim extra weather. He arrives, gets attention, that cold, so thick, expects awards when he is pure. He always asks questions that stimulate even this old mind. He always asks questions that stimulate even this old mind. When spring arrives, we throw balls, talk sports, eat strawberries. When spring arrives, we throw balls, talk sports, eat strawberries. Always stimulate balls that mine strawberries. This spring, when he asks, throw old questions, sports, talk, even eat. He runs, asks routine questions, gets extra freedom, balls behind strawberries' pure lips, expect to laugh, Whitey to stimulate, spring to sports, the flake always arrives. This old dog barked, cold weather breaks his heart, thick mind darts. My son's always angelic, proclaim when tree awards attention. When we throw, talk, eat, he is so that, he even that.
Yeah.
What's that form called?
Paradel.
Paradel.
A paradel is, a funky French form.
Of which there are quite a few.
There are less paradels than there are villanelles, I guarantee you.
Well, I can kind of understand why. So, well, the next time we meet, bring that poem back the next time we have an actual discussion, because I want to find out more about how this thing works. I can hear how it works, but I really would like to see one in action. Okay, let's see.
I
Bennett,
like to receive a copy.
Bennett, are you with us?
A copy also. Down.
Huh?
Send a copy.
Oh,
Send a copy.
yeah, I could email it out. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Hang on, guys. Bennett, are you able to join us?
That he can't.
Yeah, I think he hasn't found his audio button. Okay, so I'm
Doug needs to introduce himself.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I do?
yeah.
Well, I've been a professor at times, a journalist at times, most famously, I guess, a musician at times, an artist at times, and I still write poems, which I've done since I was a kid. And I dropped music finally in order to concentrate on writing more. So I'm retired, jack of all trades, master of none.
Master of poetry, we think.
Thank you, sir.
Everyone in the Seymour community who's watching this should also understand that Doug is an editor and edits Doug, I'm drawing a blank. The
Heron Clan. It's called Poems from the Heron Clan. True. So we accept 3 poems at a time. Just find me. You can find me.
Yeah. He puts a good deal of effort into it. It's a good festschrift or anthology or whatever you want to call it. Okay, Margaret Bochting, who's one of our Wednesdays at 1 cohort, was unable to join us today, but she did send me a poem, so I'll read that. Now, the poem, she's read it to us before. Some of you here with us today will recognize it. It's titled The Kite. A child runs toward the waves, toward the white fringe where the water throws itself in the air and topples over. The vast sky dances with a small and smaller kite. Is it high enough? Does the lighthouse see? Sunlight wants to stay with him later than dusk, later than July. The Atlantic will not draw its eastern line. Joyful child, flying a dream withdrawn, kite abandoned in wet sand. Lift it to a stone and watch the sun. May it climb a tall wind like a ladder and be a laughing boy. Just a little background on Margaret. Margaret was a professor at North Carolina Central University for many years, retired from there, eventually found her way to us at Wednesdays at 1, and has been she's like a charter member of the group, as Janet is. So I'll share my poem today, which we're working on this project regarding events, things, sensory perceptions that take you somewhere, a la the little Madeline at the opening of Proust's Remembrance of Things Past. And so I've been working on that all week on a poem about that, and it's titled Old Books. I shall read it. Old books, must of the shut-in, the dried dust air and motes in shifting sunlight, undisturbed by so much as a breath, a breathing, by a change in pressure or a passing by. Colognes of stale cardboard, piled printed matter, fragrances of was, odors of discard, smells of the old order. So much gathered into this delicate nose rot of leaves and signatures, supple olfaction. Not an offense, but not a garden. Not a confection, but not a warning. Neither a dissipation nor a load, not burden nor ache nor longing, but transport. Sense to incense, to inscape, to the inescapable, to what becomes boyhood again. An instantaneous, surefire, fleeting recovery of it, of something very gone and familiar.